Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you tuned in. Welcome to Word Cafe. It's a good Sunday where we have to listen, to learn and to live. And today we are grateful to have Heri again. Karibu Heri.
Thank you.
We've missed you.
I've missed being on Word Cafe too.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
For interest of those who may be watching you for the first time, waambie Heri ni nani?
All right. As Mr. Fred Saisi has said, my name is Heri Ryanga. I am an emotional intelligence coach with Shuja Rising Consulting. Emotional intelligence is basically understanding your emotions, managing them, and understanding other people's emotions and managing those relationships. So I empower people with those skills. I am also an author. I've written a book. It's called Why Not You? And it's a book that helps you look at the disempowering thoughts that prevent you from achieving your dreams and then give you practical steps to achieving said dreams. It's an ebook.
Ebook.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You can read it online. Everyone reads their phones books on their phones or on the laptop, yeah? Yeah, so it is an ebook.
All right. Karibu, a lot has been happening while you were away.
While I was away.
A lot of things happened.
Do tell.
A female cop is on the run and on the loose at the same time.
Yes.
And I've seen in the media about police with mental something. The IG wants maybe to initiate either counseling or something. There must be a problem with the men in uniform.
I'm not sure if it's a problem with the men in uniform so much as I think it's manifesting. It has made the news, it's prominent, so that's what you are seeing. And it's to the extreme. By the time a fellow officer kills his colleague, I mean, that is extreme, right? But it started from somewhere. It's to do with our mental health. It's something, I think we don't necessarily take mental health seriously. So long as I'm not seeing you bleeding, so long as you have not fainted, you see.
Before the cops, we had guys go to the so-called Vasha, and what happened? It was just about safari rally, and a lot went around. I don't know if it was to confuse the society from whatever was happening. Let me take this opportunity to ask you a small question. Is there something wrong with the society today?
I'm not sure how to answer that. I don't know if there's something wrong with society so much as the society that we are living in. We just do not know how to cope with the things that are around us. We prioritize the wrong things. We are influenced by the wrong things, and we are trying to live lives which we see maybe on TV, which is just not realistic. Let's not even get into social media, which has played a major role. Do you know, according to statistics around the world, 4.2 billion people are on social media. 4.2 billion. Yeah, as in that's like 55% of the world is on social media.
55%.
Yes, and
the population near Chinese.
The world. The world. And here's the thing. Apparently, they say that the average individual spends 2 hours and 25 minutes on social media. Daily. You know? That is aside from whatever time you're spending on the TV, whatever activities, just social media. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever it is, it's that time. The average person looks at their WhatsApp 23 to 25 times in a day. Whether there's not a message or, you just find yourself going to your phone. And further statistics say that 270 million people are actually suffering from social media addictions. So you're asking what is wrong with our world? Those are some of the things which are wrong. I think there's so many things that are bombarding us. We're focusing on things which are not necessarily important, and we don't know how to cope.
Okay. Because I looked at the whole thing, the World Safari Rally. It was happening.
Yes.
And today you mentioned the word Naivasha, the rally is not there.
Yeah.
What's there is the negative part of it.
Yeah.
That's why I came up with that small question. If there was something wrong. So, as you say, the social media is just maybe at its best now. It's yet to be maybe more worse. They're still developing so many things. So many phones are being developed now. I understand with a smartphone today, someone can hack into your phone and just send you what he feels you should watch.
That's true. We really are not safe. This digital era where everyone, it's what George Orwell wrote. He wrote a book in 1984 called where Big Brother Syndrome, where there will be no privacy whatsoever. I mean, you can be making a phone call and you're hearing an echo. Somebody is tapping. You like, is your phone really safe? So I think all of those things play a factor in the situation that is. But I think more so it's people do not have coping mechanisms, or let me call them thriving mechanisms. We do not have outlets. When you're in a tough situation, where is the outlet? You're a pressure cooker. So, you're just stressed, this thing stresses you in the house, in, whatever. So whatever is closest to you is is the weapon that you'll use. If I'm a police officer, my weapon is a gun. If I am in the house, my weapon is a knife. If I'm in school, it is a cane. What is close to me that I can use to release my frustration, to project whatever anger or misery I have? I think we're dealing with so much. We don't know where to express it, who I can talk to, how to even, we don't even know what we are feeling in the first place. You're just lashing out. So I think we just do not have good coping mechanisms.
Have you seen children attack teachers in school?
Yeah.
I'm worried.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, we don't know how to manage your emotions. Even if you are feeling stressed, or even if you're feeling some form of injustice, that's what emotional intelligence is also about. How do you express these emotions appropriately in the appropriate setup? Yeah, even if I'm annoyed with my parent, am I going to go and yell at them? That is disrespectful. How can I respectfully channel what I'm feeling and tell them that, okay, Mom, when you did this, I was not happy because of A, B, C, D. But instead, you're there striking, you're there, just mistreating the grown-ups, or even the vice versa. I think people even just the ability to articulate what you are feeling, even to understand what you are feeling. Most people, if you don't take the time to just sit in silence and process your day. By the way, what happened today? This happened. How did it make me feel? I was frustrated. This happened. How did it make me feel? This one, how did it make me feel? Take time to process so that you can, now, this is what I'm feeling and this is what I'm going to do about it. But it's go society. Everything is on, steroids. We're just such high, fast-paced people. You're doing this project, you're doing this project, you're doing this project, you're doing 5 jobs, you're doing this. There's no time to rest, there's no time to process. So how do you know what you're feeling so that you can articulate it, so that you can get help if you need the help? That's why you just find yourself now exploding in really dangerous and painful ways, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, tuko naye Heri Ryanga. Ana handle maswala ya kiakili.
Mental health. Kiakili ina sound so for the learned people.
Mambo ya mawazo.
I am not. Si mawazo. I don't know. Okay. Wewe ndio Mswahili sasa.
Mwacha Mswahili ni mzee mmoja. Nimemwacha kule Old Town. Leo ana handle mambo ya wema wa kiakili. Swahili. Hebu niweke hiyo mental wellness kwa Kiswahili.
Mental wellness.
Usinibwage.
Usawa akilini.
VTT should have been here. Is a veteran teacher. Angetusaidia, angetuokoa. Remember, you can call in live. The number to call is 0788 4444 73. 0788 444473. You can call and ask your question. You can you can make a WhatsApp call, audio. You can make a WhatsApp call, video. You can call through the messenger, no problem. And we are fine. We are okay. Heri is in the house. She's here to stay.
Okay.
Are you going anywhere?
I
Before
am
the
not.
show ends?
Nope, I'm here.
We are waiting for Mr. Vititi who said ameshikwa kwa jam kidogo. Ajabu ni Mombasa, ukiambia mtu kuna jam, they wonder.
It's true, but yeah.
Sometimes it happens.
It happens, I
Maybe
think.
the bridge imekuwa submerged na maji.
Okay.
Si inawezekana bahari ijae, Nyali bridge ikuwe submerged. Coming from Nyali.
Now, will the problem be a jam or people are drowning because of the flooding?
No, they are waiting. Heri, I wish to allow you break it down.
Yes.
What is mental wellness?
Okay, so according to WHO, mental health is a state of well-being where an individual is cognizant, is aware of their abilities, is able to manage, cope with normal stress, is able to be productive, and also is able to make a contribution to society. So it encompasses emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how you think, you act, what you feel, the choices that you make. So that all encompassing is what mental health, mental wellness is.
Okay. I want us to go back to where we began.
Okay.
At the police.
Yes.
These are armed people. They have guns with them every time.
Yes.
During the day, during the night. They have families.
Yes.
They have friends. They have enemies as well. Do you think there should be either special unit at the men in uniform for maybe teaching or taking them through the wellness of the mental part?
I think the thing is there are some jobs, like all jobs are different, and I'm sure each job has its challenges, but there are some jobs which are high pressure. There's some jobs which you are in danger. Like, I think some jobs might incline you more to stressful situations. Like I should imagine anybody in the defense forces, whether you're a police officer, you are a GSU, you're a military man in Somalia, I think that is a high pressure situation. So the stress level in that capacity might be higher than somebody who is maybe a businessman. The stress, each of them have their own stress levels, but I think the nature of the job of the person who is an officer or an armed force person, the stress level, the nature of the job makes the stress levels high. They're exposed to a lot of pressure. It's a high pressure job. Maybe if you're working in a hospital, you're working in casualty, you're just receiving accident victims. The stress levels are going to be high. Or you're working in the ICU and you take care of patients. When they're about to get better, they die. That is stress. So I think some jobs, by their design, by their nature, they incline you to be a bit more stressed. And I think that care should be taken to these people. Like even actually counselors, they go for their own counseling. Because can you imagine, like for 7 days straight, you are listening to stories of people maybe who have undergone gender-based violence, children who have been violated, or people, you're just hearing murder victims. Like, I mean, you yourself as a counselor, you are required to go for counseling. What about these other people? So I think that there should be systems in place so for people to be able to go and talk about things. And I think it should even just be part of the rules. It should even be mandatory. After you come back from a trip, can you go and just debrief? Most of us have this stereotype. Staki mimi si mwenda wazimu. It's like you only see a counselor or a psychiatrist or psychologist when you are on your way to Madare or Portrees. That's still the stigma. Yeah, so most people don't want to talk about their things, or I don't want to appear that I am weak, but it's the same thing. If you are sick, you go to and see a doctor. So if you're not well in your head, doesn't mean that you're going insane, but if we talked about the well-being, you're not able to make decisions, you're not able to be productive, you're not able to recognize your own abilities, if you are falling in that category, it's okay. There shouldn't be no stigma with you seeking help. Let me talk to somebody who can be able to help me. I think such should be included in, some jobs. Actually, all jobs, but some more than others. Yeah, because everyone, I think, experiences stress on some level.
Like a truck driver.
Yeah, can you imagine truck driver 18 hours? You're 18 hours as in you're just alone in your truck. That's why some people, and maybe that's not even the only job you do. That is now the part-time job, you do other jobs. As in, this hustler mentality of you need to keep food on the table. It's a reality, you do. So I think there should not be any stigma revolving around mental health. Yeah.
You talked of hospital.
Yes.
I spoke to one nurse, and I asked this nurse, how do you feel when a patient passes on, maybe in your attendance or in your care? She told me the first patient I felt, the second a little bit, the third, but now it's normal. Does it mean the mind copes up with the situation and they get used to it and life is normal, or there is something that should be done?
I think it's a coping mechanism. You feel pain. This is somebody who you have tried your best to give whatever palliative care, whatever medical care in concert with the doctor. So you are invested in this patient getting better. So, of course, if you are facing many deaths, how do you protect yourself? Unakuwa sugu. But at the end of the day, it still affects you. It still affects you. I have worked with nurses. I used to work in a hospital.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not a medic. I worked as a public relations officer.
All right.
I was not a medic, but I still was feeling the stress of working in that.
You step in.
Yes, that was it. Or if there's any public relations, making sure that the hospital things are So yes, that was my job. But I was stationed in the outpatient where the casualty is. Accident victims, I'm seeing them in. Patient has been brought in, dies over there. You're seeing the relative moaning and just screaming, as in you are seeing it. It takes a toll. Can you imagine just seeing pain, suffering, and death on a daily basis? Do you want to tell me that's not going to affect you? It will. These are humans who you want to save. Sometimes you cannot save them. Sometimes it's too late, despite your best efforts. Somebody looks like they're getting better, they die. Healthcare workers, don't forget, right now it's COVID. You're on the front line. We don't know, somebody might be potential COVID, COVID prone victim. You are interacting with the person. You're trying to give them the best care. You are trying to protect yourself, take care of your patient. You are scared of taking COVID home to your family. Can you imagine that scenario? Yeah. There's no way you will say that I'm not going to be a nurse anymore, I'm not going to be a doctor because of COVID. You will serve. So for sure, there's a lot of, there might be stress and pressure and tension there. And working in a hospital already is high pressure by design.
Yeah.
Then now other factors bring it on. So I do believe that there really needs to be spaces in workstations, workplaces where your mental health is catered for. You should be able to report it, and it should be taken seriously. Not, okay, wewe ni burnout tu, ende ulale siku mbili. It might be burnout, but it might not be burnout. There might be something else going on. Because there are symptoms, by the way. Somebody doesn't just, just have a meltdown like this. There are symptoms. If you see somebody who is energetic, has zero energy for anything in life. Somebody who is starting self-harm. Self-harm is like you're cutting yourself maybe, you're burning yourself maybe. Somebody who's having suicidal thoughts. Somebody who, things that used to interest you, suddenly they don't interest you. Somebody who is pulling away from people. Can we hang out? No, you're just trying to be a hermit. You're just self-isolating and you don't have COVID. There are signs before people actually have a meltdown. But we are not adept in reading the signs. So that's why you'll see this askari just shooting somebody with a gun. It was not at impromptu. It built. Maybe the person was unaware of the signs. People were just dismissing them that, we are on a two mood swing. Something is going on. People need to be a bit more vigilant, especially with your co-mate and co-worker, and just ask, are you sure everything is okay? I'm noticing ABCD, can we talk? But I think we take these things for granted, and then now when all these disasters happen, we're like, our society. Imagine some of these things are actually preventable if we just take the time to notice the other person. If we are socially aware and just in tune, that's to do with social awareness and emotional intelligence. Take the time to look at the other person. Why are they behaving like that? Why are they yelling like that? Why are they crying like that? Is there something behind it that maybe we can address? Yeah.
Let me bring you to the story that has taken all the headlines. This lady cop.
Yes.
The family has called on her wherever she is. They care.
Yes.
They have a problem as well.
Yes.
Thinking of their daughter. However much she seems to be a criminal, but it is somebody's daughter. And I want you to assist us, maybe get a clue on what may be going through the minds of the parents and what may be going through the minds of their daughter.
Okay. Well, I can only imagine, because clearly I'm not in their shoes, but I should imagine shock. Nobody ever thinks that somebody who you live with or you raise can do something violent. Yeah, so I'm sure the question is, ulifanyiwa nini mpaka ukafika hapo? What pushed you to that limit? So of course shock, of course pain, and of course worry, because you've been labeled a criminal. People, if they find you, you're going to face the music. Yeah, and maybe to some extent disappointment. Is this what we raised you? Like, we don't know the story of the lady, like what led her to that point, but just there's usually that, wow.
Yeah, you say.
Is this the child I raised? Yeah. So I would imagine those are some of the emotions, some of the thoughts that might be in the heads of their families. Yeah, and also that she would be found safe and sound, and face the, some things can go wrong, but like she'd be found safe and sound, and then now continue, whether it's facing the music or justice from there. So, and from her, on her side, I do not know what had led her to, to that particular point. I can only do conjecture and surmise. Maybe there were warning signals. I have no idea. Maybe she was stressed. I have no idea, But you don't just wake up one day and say that I am going to, It has built up. And usually it starts with a thought in the head. The more if you focus on something, then that becomes all that you think about. And your thoughts actually lead to actions. So it might be something that she has thought about. Or it could also be a crime of passion. Some things you just do on the spur of the moment and you don't even realize because of a different emotion. Yeah. Then now then something triggers you at this point, and what I have is this particular weapon and I lash out at you. Then later on I'm just like, what on earth did I do? So I really just have no clue. Was it premeditated? Was it spur of the moment? Was it a build-up that finally this is the straw that broke the camel's back? I don't know, but yeah, I really don't know. But it must have built up. It's not just something that happens overnight.
Somebody wrote on social media and said, kindly, we are requesting the police.
Yes.
Don't kill her.
Yeah.
However dangerous she may be, kindly don't kill her. Maybe she needs help.
Yeah, bring her to, it's better you get a hold of her, catch her, and then let her face the music according to the law, whatever, but make sure she gets help, rehabilitation. People can actually be rehabilitated. There's a friend of mine who does ministry in a prison, I accompanied her a few times to said prison, and you'd find it was a women's prison, and you'd find ladies there who'd done crimes, people who'd killed their husbands. You know, if you hear that somebody has killed their husband, you think this hardcore criminal, you know, and tattoos, and they just look like regular women who have been rehabilitated. And even if you hear some of the reasons these women committed the crimes, you'll find that, alikuwa ananinyanyasa siku moja nikachukua tu kisu nikadunga. Unaona? So as in, you know, you can be so horrified, like, what are you saying? But now you look at the woman, she has been counseled, she has been rehabilitated. The woman is cheerful, normal member of society, now serving out her life sentence. So also not to ostracize and just already blacklist somebody, you are far gone. You are a police officer and you let the officer down, you killed I don't know who and who. No, can we find, as in, she can still get help, I believe, if she's open to it. Also, you know, it can be like an alcoholic. You can take an alcoholic to a rehab and they will not reform if they are not willing to. But if they are, then they will.
In one of our shows, I hosted somebody who does counseling to drug addicts.
Yes.
And I visited their offices and he took me around. He told me, if maybe there's someone affected in your family and you get hold of this person forcibly to a rehab center, chances are he may not be helped.
Yeah.
Unless he wills by himself.
Yeah.
That I need this.
Yeah.
Then he gets help.
Yeah.
This lady cop is a mother, according to some sources. We have the children part. They read everywhere, they see their mom on TV. Will they ever forget how do we deal with their mental situation?
That's also another unfortunate thing. And you know, this era of social media, you'll open the Facebook and there is your mom plastered, or people will even send you forwards on WhatsApp. You know, just, nimeona mama yako ndio hii picha. You know, it's in like, people can be so callous, you know. Like, I remember an instance also where there's a friend of mine who died in a tragic road accident. So people took photos, you know, undignified photos on an accident site when somebody, you know, they're not covered, they're just, you know, you're just seeing blood. And then now somebody just posted them on Facebook. So I'm opening my Facebook and I'm seeing my dead friend there. Can you see how callous that is? You know, and that's unfortunately the society. So for even these children, it can be traumatizing. So clearly they need to be protected as much as possible, though there's only so much you can do on social media. And of course they need counseling, because this is our mom. Fine, according to you, that is a criminal, as all we know is this is our mom. So they need counseling to just understand, to be brought to terms, and also go through stages of grief. Do you know you're grieving? Like, what? How could, you know, like finally when they understand what is happening, how can my mom do such a thing? No, but you're supposed to be done. You can imagine now if maybe she has to serve a prison sentence, then now you see, because of why didn't you think of us? Now you're in prison away from us. You know, all those things can just play in a child's head. You know, it's supposed to be there for us. Why are you not thinking of us when you did this crime? You know, all those thoughts. So I think the children really need to be shielded as much as possible from this news. Yeah, they should be aware of what's going on, of course. You cannot keep them in a bubble, but I think unnecessary images which are hurtful and damaging for them, they should not be exposed to that. And somebody should actually just reach out to them and just ask them, by the way, how are you feeling? Are you okay with it? Are you sad? Are you mad? What are you feeling? So that they can also start that process of healing. Yeah.
Okay. So you said it is necessary for the children to be aware. But
yeah,
to expose them to every image. Some are actually writing so funny comments and what have you. Now that the social media is ungovernable, how do they cope up? Maybe the father may be watching, or this message may reach the father. how should he maybe protect the minds of his children?
I think just
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, like
actually the husband.
the husband, yeah. I think like, well, at least maybe the TV, the images are, they have to be a certain way so they're not too undignified. But maybe at least just control over the phones if they have phones or what.
According to the media sources, the husband happens also to be a cop.
Now you see, that's also, also even him, he has also now other stigma. Like, how can your wife, who is one of us, and you didn't see it coming, even the husband also needs counseling, because he can also be asking himself, like, we stay with you in the same house, how did I not see this? Was I not keen enough? He can be also angry at her, like, what were you thinking? Now look at Aibu. It's like, it's just, it's a sad and delicate situation, but not, for me, not unrecoverable. But I think there needs to be a lot of conversations, a lot of counseling, and help.
Do you know what I may foresee? Like, cops are known with the locals, wherever they serve in the station.
Yeah.
They are known to the public.
Yes.
And now the general public, like, the general public, when a cop passes, yule askari, yule bibi yake anatafutwa, then eventually maybe itamfikia.
Yeah.
Na ako na gun.
Okay, now let's just also there's a lot of stigma revolving police officers. First of all, the common thing, every police officer is corrupt. Those are fallacies. Oh, every police officer is trigger happy. Can we just get that one out of the way? Yeah. I mean, police officers, they are trained, so they know how to handle themselves, how to handle their machinery and all that. So unfortunately, people will talk. We cannot necessarily prevent that.
Yes.
But we should now not assume every police officer with his gun is just trigger happy and is about to kill you. Like, honestly, that one now is not right. I think let us deal with the issue. It's the only thing is they have, what I was saying earlier on, the weapon they have is a gun. But you in your own house, you have a knife. That's what you will use. How many instances do we have of spousal injury, spousal murder? They didn't have a gun, they had a knife, they had a panga, they had a what, that's what they used. So I think the larger issue should not, I think it's because they are police officers and we look to them for protection, they're the ones to, defend us, and that's why it's a bit shocking. But if you look at the grander scale of things, this has been happening for a while. I mean, this COVID pandemic, it was there before, but I think we've had quite a number of cases of spousal deaths, spousal murders, spousal injury, I don't know, different corners of the country. Just that now it is a police officer and it's not a spouse, it's, fellow colleague. But I think let's just look at it from that lens, like there is a general problem. Why are people just not able to cope, and when they explode, it results in death?
Yes. Do we have good and genuine police officers?
Yes, we do. I believe they are there.
Yes, right?
Yes.
Now, where is the problem whereby we only see police on the media platforms when they are on the wrong side? Can we maybe change that to maybe talk to the media guys? Can they bring those good officers to the limelight?
Do you know the unfortunate thing is that people like hearing bad news? Do you know that's the unfortunate thing? Even if you're framing a news story, let's say there was a car accident and nobody died.
Yes.
They won't write that, you won't read. They will write, near tragedy, 5 almost perished. That's the truth. Because people, unfortunately, are just drawn towards negativity. And before you hear the positive side, you have just filled your head with the negative. I don't know why people just like that. So I don't know how the media can be helped, but people like hearing negative news.
Yeah. Alright. Hivyo ndio kunaendanga.
Yes.
Unajikuna mahali unaweza. Nikupe maji?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fine.
I am fine.
Tuko
Yes.
Bustani restaurant.
Tuko Bustani kabisa.
Home of pizza.
By the way,
pizza.
wangoje at least tumalize tukule kwa amani.
Utaki kukula na plan?
Hapana, tunataka no, we want to demolish. Wacha tumalize kwanza.
Utaki watu wajue vile unashikanga pizza kama sima na wengine kama mboga.
Sasa mbona unatoa siri my friends?
Now, the general public, most of these guys, yani sisi, yani wananchi wote ama general public wana rely for information kutoka kwa media platforms. Sahi kuna WhatsApp wako nayo kwa nyumba kwa mkono. TV hata si sana, simu.
True.
Simu.
Yeah.
WhatsApp groups. Facebook siku hizi imeanza kupungua, lakini WhatsApp. Like just you just mentioned umekaa hivi labda unakula, then unaona notification, picha inakukujia ya either a loved one ama your friend in the wrong ama picha ambayo si nzuri. How do you, now I want you to talk to me, how do I handle that image ambayo imekuja? Mimi ndio nimepokea. Na niko hapo imenipiga na shock kwanza.
Sorry, let me just yes, if you do not mind.
Niko na simu.
Yes.
Na watu wengi wako na simu. Okay?
Yes.
Na iko na WhatsApp. Na niko kwa groups.
Yes.
So katika zile groups unakuta kwamba kuna picha imetumwa.
Yes.
Na hiyo picha ni ya mtu ninajua na niko close naye kabisa. Na si picha nzuri.
Yes.
Either ni kama ya huyo ambaye ako on the wrong side of the law, ama ni mtu kitu kumfanyikia kibaya. Ile nikiona hiyo picha it will
affect you.
Nita stop kitu nilikuwa nafanya.
Yes.
Now I want you to prepare me, how do I handle that photo in the phone? How do I handle this message in the phone?
I think the first thing is not to jump to conclusions. Call the person and get information about it. Otherwise, that's how gossip spreads and rumors spread. So if it's something and it's serious, I will call the person. If the person is not available, then people around the person, because I am asking out of concern.
Yes.
I have seen this. Is it true? Does the person need help? What can I do? What is the situation? So I think try to gather information around it, because sometimes it can be totally false. Sometimes, this is social media. Anybody with Photoshop can do something to a photo. So it might be false. So I think establish the facts, and then from there, charter a way forward. And then also, social media, how reliable is it that everything you see there is actually accurate anyway? I think we need to stop this reliance so much on social media, on Facebook. There's actually something called FOMO, fear of missing out. That's why you're constantly on your phone. You wake up midnight, the first thing you do, your phone. There was no message, you're just there. You wake up in the morning, phone. Fear of missing out. That's why you're there 24/7. Okay, since the last 5 minutes I was on my phone, what happened? It's like you want to try to capture everything. Can you? You cannot. You're on Facebook, you finish Facebook, Twitter. Okay, in case anything's on YouTube, in case anything's on the WhatsApp, in case fear of missing out. And then now, whatever you believe on social media, you believe it to be true. My friend, nobody there is a specialist on social media. Let's start there. Everybody with a phone is suddenly a specialist. Then you're there believing that things are true. So I think we need to just try to regulate ourselves and realize that life is not passing you by because you are not on social media.
Okay.
Yes.
So tuchukulie easy.
Yeah, take it easy. Can you just decide even one day I'm not going to look at my WhatsApp? See if you will die. You will not. You might feel like you are going to, but you will not.
Beryl Uza. Hi everyone. Very good to see you. For sure, we don't know how to manage stress and conflict. In fact, in Kenya, we glorify suffering in silence and being busy.
Yes, that is true. Yes, thank you, Beryl Uza. That is so true. Yeah.
Heri Ryanga, are you, hi, such a relevant subject, eager to learn?
Yes.
Hiyo jina ya pili inakufanana.
Relation. My sister.
Oh, mnajuana.
Yes, vizuri sana.
Hivi. Muko
Kabisa.
WhatsApp group moja?
Yes.
Muko Twitter page same?
Hey, Twitter mtu kila mtu na account yake.
Okay. Nimewachia hapo hiyo comment.
Yeah. But can I just add on to, can I just emphasize what Beryl Uza was saying? Because she talked about how we glorify negative and also being busy.
Actually, ngoja nitafute uone vile amesema.
Okay.
All right, thank you. For sure, we don't know how to manage stress and conflict. In fact, in Kenya, we glorify suffering in silence and being busy.
Yes. It is you are if you are able to just manage your stress stoically and quietly and usiambie mtu katu hapo ngumu, it's like now that is praised. Wewe ndio umejua ku manage stress. But in essence, you have managed nothing. You have just swept it under the rug. It's the elephant in the room which you are pretending is not there. And one day that elephant is going to break that room. It needs to be dealt with. So it's true. So I think we think that managing it is keeping quiet about it and just going through life. Unaendelea tu na grind na hustle, you know. But really, you have not helped yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
So, maybe for the interest of general public.
Yes.
If there be a small issue, don't sweep under the carpet.
You should not. It's part of conflict management, because even if you sweep dirt under the carpet, have you gotten rid of the dirt? No, you have just delayed the fact. Eventually, you will have to sweep under the rug and get rid of it altogether.
Yes.
So you're not dealing with it. It's actually a style of conflict management, and it's called avoidance. There are 5 styles of conflict management. So what that sweeping under the rug is called avoidance. We are pretending this issue is not here. We don't want to deal with it. As we're pretending that we are fine. But eventually, I mean, just imagine, you know that metaphor, the elephant in the room. Can you imagine if you actually have an elephant in the room and you just pretend that that elephant is not there? Meanwhile, you're feeding the elephant is going to the loo in that room. Can you imagine how stinky that room is? You're still pretending, no, there's no elephant here. That is what you do when you avoid issues. And you're feeding it, it's just growing, it's pooping there, it's doing everything there. You're still in there, that room, it is stinking. No, there's no elephant here. That is exactly what you do when you avoid conflicts. That elephant you're ignoring is getting bigger and bigger. It's making your room stinky. I mean, it's unbearable, and you're still pretending that it's not there. The day you decide you want to deal with that elephant, it has grown twice as big. You're cleaning the room. You've been feeding it. Imekugaramia so much more than had you just dealt with it the first time.
Wajua, sijui utasaidia vipi wanaume kama sisi. Sisi ni wale, ukiona ka issue na kufa nako kisoja. Ukiona ka issue.
Yeah.
Peke yako pole nayo kwa kipole. What should we do?
I think one, it depends on the issues. Maybe some issues.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Okay,
tell me.
Maybe I may speak on behalf of the married men.
Okay.
Unakuja nyumbani, unakuta kitu hakiko sawa, you just ni mambo ya wanawake bwana. You go to sleep. Leo hakuna chakula, sitaangalia. Then eventually unaanza kula, unatoka job, unaanza kuja nyumbani kama umejisort chapati madondo kwa kibanda. Forget about it. Then inakuja inaanza anakuuliza maybe kitu inakukera kichwa, then you just brush it off and you go to sleep. Do you think this is a big problem?
It is a huge problem, and
huge ndio kubwa.
I think so. Huge looks like a superlative, but the point is, it's huge, and for me, it's a matter of the person lacks self-awareness and lacks the ability to communicate emotions. For me, that is the problem. Yeah, like you should be able to know that, you know what, when I come and I find that there's no food on the table and I'd requested for this, or I'd left money for this, so I know that I'd provided the food, I feel maybe disrespected, or I feel like you don't love me, or I feel what, you should be able to first of all recognize your feelings and articulate it to the other person. Can you imagine your wife is not a soothsayer, neither is she a mind reader, so how is she supposed to know what you are feeling? Just like even the way you also tell your wives to, like, you cannot read your wife's mind. You also need them to tell you what's going on in their head, right? So the same way. So I think it's also our society. Men are supposed to be strong. Kuwa dume, kuwa simba, hakuna kulia, hakuna ku... Yeah, but unfortunately, you also have emotions, yes? You still have the same emotions?
Umeanguka chini, labda umeumia ukianza kulia.
Yeah.
Your mom tells you, mwanaume ni kujikaza. Especially the fathers. Mama anaweza mhurumia, but the fathers.
It's so unfortunate how our children...
Yeah? Have you ever had that?
That's what I'm saying, it's so unfortunate. I have had.
Why is it?
I have had.
Wewe umesikia mtu akiambiwa?
I have had.
Mimi nimeambiwa.
It is so sad.
Watu wanaona. You run in the bananas ama kwa miwa. Nyuma ya jikoni.
Yeah.
Right there. Now hapa ni town, you have nowhere to run to. Lakini kilio kipo. So you cry inside.
Or you cry in the shower. Yo shower, yo maji kitoka utasema ni shower, si machozi yako. Yeah, so unfortunately, yes, children are socialized to that extent. Mwanaume anakunywa Coke, hakunywi Fanta.
Yeah.
Mwanaume hakuna kulia. I will never forget the story you gave me. I will never forget. Yes, but I feel those are socializations which I think they just incline the boy child to a place where they are unable even to just because I am articulating and embracing my emotions, it doesn't mean that I'm going to cry any second. If I'm angry, I should be able to say that I am angry because of A, B, C, D. If I am sad, I should be able to say I am sad because of A, B, C, D, so that the other person can know, oh, so this person, if I do this, makes them feel like this, let me try to avoid it. But unfortunately, because of the socialization that you're saying, men, first of all, do not think they are allowed to feel anything. Secondly, if you feel it, you don't think you are allowed to voice it. If you voice it, you're weak. That is wrong. You should be able to feel whatever you're feeling and express it. I'm not saying expressing it is crying, but if you need to cry, who said you have to go cry in public? Go and cry in the bathroom alone. You know, as in, I'm not saying now break down in the camera and cry, but if you feel the inclination, if something truly, I mean...
you go in the junction of the road and just begin crying there.
If you're in a Filipino soap opera, so be it. All I'm saying is you should feel okay to express whatever you are feeling, depending on the setup. I mean, if it's a funeral and it is somebody close to you, if you want to, I mean, shed a tear if you need to. You know, grieve. Allow yourself to, not mwanaume hakuna kusikia vibaya. I mean, you have the same feelings like the rest of us. You're just able to hide them more. And that's why, have you realized that the suicide rate is higher for men?
Very high.
Yes. Pressure cooker, bottling all emotions. Of course, that is not the only reason. I'm not a psychologist. I cannot surmise that's the only reason. But it has been noted to be one of the reasons, because men simply they feel they have no outlet, or they are not able to express themselves, even with other men. You see, women, as we talk, if you're with another woman, you will talk, and you vent, and that's why you've released all of your steam. But then this other person has not given you a solution. You have just talked. But that helps. But even men talking to other men find it hard. So that outlet, that coping mechanism is just not there. And well, that now it can escalate. It's not the only factor that can lead to, you know, such behavior, violent behavior, whatever, but it is a factor that can lead to that.
I was in a small conversation with the young people, and someone asked, we have learned either from the history. I know you are not a marriage counselor.
I definitely am not. Let me not take that space.
I know.
Yes.
Wacha niongee Kiswahili, Kizungu yangu imeisha.
Okay. Haya, tuendelee.
Nihurumie tu niseme.
Hakuna shida. Tunasikiza zote.
Kina babu zetu walikuwa wakiacha kina nyanya zetu nyumbani kwenda kutafuta mbuzi ama kutafuta swara porini, walete nyumbani nyanya apike.
Yes.
Alright? Nyanya hakuwa anaenda porini kutafuta. So the men went out to look for food.
Yes.
That is true.
Yes.
Sawa. Sisi ambao tuko leo, we have learned from our grandmothers, grandfathers. Sawa. Now, kina bibi zetu, our wives today, pia wao wanaenda porini kutafuta
Swara.
Mimi nimeenda kutafuta swara na pia bibi ameenda kutafuta. Lucky enough, kwa some cases bibi anashika swara kubwa kushinda yangu. Tunakuja na hizi swara mbili nyumbani, but hii ambayo ni yake anakula peke yake. Hii nimeshika, ndio sasa tugawane kila mtu kipande paka kwa watoto. Talk to me about that. How do we... Wacha tunastiki kwa Kiswahili. Hapa katikati something changed from the mothers receiving zile mzaa na letter to mama pia ako na yake.
Yeah.
But mentality haijawahi change kwamba pesa ya baba si ya kila mtu peke yake, pia ile ya mama ni ya kila mtu. Hiyo mental tufanya aje ndio watu wakuwe free, hiyo friction ya pesa nyumbani itoke?
One, I don't think it's the case in all households. I know.
In some households.
Yes, in some. Yes,
in most households.
No, in most.
Maybe in all households.
I think you cannot make an absolute statement. I always say all households, but
okay, let's.
Yes.
Maybe some. Or
I think yes.
Most.
I think if you say some, we can be accurate
Say
because it happens.
Say most.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't have facts, but I know it happens.
Are you Kenyan?
Yes.
There's this saying, her money is her money.
Yes.
His money is our money.
Exactly.
So, kama hiyo iko. But in all houses.
Okay, I will not argue. Yes.
Nimekwambia tunasaidia mind zitoke hapo.
Zitoke pale, yes.
Kama mama pia siku hizi anaenda kutafuta swara na mzee, sangine mzee ashiki, mama ndiye anashika. Na sasa lazima swara ya mzee ndio ikuliwe. Hii minds tufanye aje zikuje kwa terms na today's modern world?
I think it's a matter of communication. What are your expectations? What are my expectations? I think sometimes we enter situations, whether it's marriages, relationships, and we find challenges because of unmet expectations, which we maybe did not voice earlier on. I am entering thinking that, of course, whatever money unaleta, tunacombine na yangu, tunalisha familia. Me in my head, I'm like, hapana, pesa yangu ni yangu, yako ni yetu, you know. So are we able to communicate that? And also, yes, you're right, there is the mindset of wewe ni mwanaume, leta pesa. But there's also the mindset of the woman who actually wants to share. Like, let us do these things together. And the man is just like, no, mimi ndio mwanaume, sitaki pesa yako. So there are also those realities. There are also those realities, or even the man might feel intimidated because swara yangu yako ni kubwa kuliko yangu. Those are also vitu kwa ground, honestly. Vitu kwa ground ni hiyo. So hata afadhali usiende kutafuta swara tungangane na yangu ndogo, instead of you bring your big one to make mine look like it's a dwarf. So I think those realities are there, but I think the main thing is communication. Most people do not communicate. How does it make you feel when you're just seeing your wife over there eating her own money and you're struggling? Can you communicate that to her in an appropriate way? No, my
so
friend.
wanaume they don't.
No, that is it. Kwa nini unaitisha? It is not commands. Talk, communicate. Communicate in an that is emotional intelligence.
Madamu anaitisha?
Ni kuitisha ama jamani, see there is respect and kindness.
Okay, nikisema
anakuambia leta hii.
Unaweza saidia na tao niende salon. Hiyo ni
si ameuliza question, amekuomba unaweza nisaidia. That means you can say no.
Okay, na unaweza
ama you can say baadaye.
Nipe tao niende salon.
Okay, fine, hiyo ni I guess hiyo ni kuitisha.
Okay, so where is the problem when a man comes and mazee unaweza save na tao?
Yeah.
Na kimbia na mabeste man.
I think there should, that's why I'm saying I think there should be no problem there, because this marriage is a partnership. Yes, we are together. So in fact, whatever resources are here should be communal. That is in my opinion.
Do you think the marriage counselors should change, or they should reform the way they counsel couples?
Is the problem really with the marriage counselors? Oh, you can get marriage counseling and still decide to do your own thing. You know, if you're socialized in a specific way, you can still be counseled by a counselor that by them kifika kwa nyumba.
In a profession.
Tafadhali, you can also, ukiingia kwa jiko si mbaya kama mwanaume. You enter the house, you're like, counselor hizo ni zake. Mimi vile niliambiwa hakuna kuingia. Is it the counselor's fault or your own fault? So let's also not just put all the blame on the counselor. I think whatever counseling, will you take it or not? Is it beneficial for you or not?
Tumebakisha dakika kidogo, but no problem.
Okay.
Guess what the men had to say in this conversation?
Do tell.
The problem begins huku nyuma kwa kununulia msichana chips. Huku kwa relationship mahali, huku kwa my impressions, first impressions.
Yeah.
Shida inaanza huko. Mwanaume ndiye atatuma airtime, atatuma fare. Ikiwezekana mwanaume ndiye ataenda na nduthi kuchukua huyo mrembo mahali yuko. Okay? Gharama zote kwake. Ampeleke mahali wataenda kama ni kukula. Amweke bado kwa nduthi mpaka nyumbani. Are you getting?
Yes.
So ina sync kwa girl child kwamba I am supposed to be the one receiving. So the problem begins uko kwa how do you call it? Kwa courtship ile.
Dating.
Dating.
Yeah.
Uko kwa bye nitakam. Mbona hujanipigia leo? Hujawahi notice when a girl is addressing the boy, mbona hujanitumia hata SMS? Oh sorry babe, nilikuwa busy. What do you think should change hapo nyuma?
I think everyone needs to just learn to have good and courteous communication, but also don't forget there's something like a psychological contract. If you keep doing something for me, I will expect it. It's just like if we're working in an office, I did not ask you to give me tea, but every morning at 10 o'clock, all the staff are given tea. We do that for 2 years. Yeah. One day the employer wakes up, no tea today. We will be up in arms, chai iko wapi?
Ni right yako.
As in psychological contract, we're so used to it. It's like an agreement. We work for you, and part of the perks of working for you is tea. So you see, it was not demarcated like, oh, we're giving the tea because of this. So right now, if we stop the tea, it's because of A, B, C, D. So the same thing, I feel it's really just boils down to communication. Can people just communicate what they are feeling, what their intentions are? Okay. So that I don't get the wrong idea. You don't just train me like this, because basically you're just training somebody in a specific way without giving me parameters. And then now when I expect it of you, just like even the woman might do things for the man. Yeah. And then later on change, and then mwanaume like, hai, si tulikuwa tumezoea hivi. Psychological contract, it goes both ways. So I think communication is key. I am doing this because of this. I love you, I want to serve you, I want to do this, I want to do this. And if I don't do it, it's because of A, B, C, D, or I felt really bad, you didn't do it this time. I'm so used to you calling me. You didn't call me. How come? Are you well?
Psychological?
You know. Contract. People, if you do something, I mean, it's like Pavlov. You've trained me. I hear the bell food. Bell food. Yeah. And then now one day, bell no food. Allah, what's going on? You know. Yeah.
Do you know I've come to learn that all this trouble we see in the world,
Yes.
ziko related na either family issues ama psychological issues. Na kama family, ukikuwa na shida na family, akili itasumbuka tu. Now you'll end up messing something else or messing someone else. Now, should these boys just tell the girl from day one, babe, hii date ya kwanza kuja mwenyewe, hiyo ingine ndo nitakupeleka, na hii date ya kwanza ile kitu utachagua mimi ndo nitalipa, ile mimi nitachagua wewe ndo utalipa. Should something of the sort happen?
I don't know now. You see, I feel like it's so mechanical. Like, if you can do, or just say that, hey, Leo, by the way.
Hapo kwa social
psychological contract. Yeah, like, I think, like, you're already just attuning me to expect this of you. I think, let it be fluid. Just say, hey, Leo, I want to treat you. It's on me. Next time, raundi manze nimesota kidogo niko na thao. So, tuneza, ama fine. Leo nilikuwa crave chapo dono. Tukule hiyo, which is in your budget. You see, why do you think, should do things in your budget if it is a must? Has anybody said we must be eating pizza every day? Have we said we must go to Villa Kempinski? So as in, do in your budget. And if you can't, leo siwezi, by the way. Si lazima usema una do. Usema, by the way, leo nimeshikika, tunaweza meet next week. Sasa unajua uko na do. If that truly is an issue, like, be tactful with your communication, but communicate.
Kuna wale kina dada ambaye kama ameolewa, she gives her all to the family. She gives her all to the man. In most cases unakuta hata mwanaume inabidi tu anang'ara lakini haendi job. Then eventually unakuta either mwanaume naye anazoea tu. So akikuja nyumbani hakuna food, anauliza, hey babe, what's happening? What's up? Tufanya, unajua hii kitu inasumbua watu. Unaona hizi nyumba unaamka asubuhi zimeshika moto. Ni hii babe, mbona leo? What should we, which foot should we set down correctly before we say I do?
I do not know how to make that, to say that. All I'm saying is, for me, truly, everything just boils down to, can you communicate what you are feeling and what you are meaning, right? When I don't see food on the table, I feel like you don't care about my well-being. Is that the case? No, imagine this and this happened. Even ndio story naisha. Instead of kujiwekea alafu na imagine wewe ukishinda ukiniachia socks hapo, by the way, next to the laundry bin, mbona ungeingiza? Imagine an care. I feel like you don't respect me. That's how you feel. I am sorry. Like, communicate. What are you? Take time to understand what you are feeling and articulate it to the other person, especially if it is a close relationship. You cannot avoid the person. Can you avoid your wife? Can you avoid your parents? Can you avoid your siblings? I mean, at some point, you cannot avoid some people. So if you do not deal with these issues, it is that elephant I was talking about.
All right. Let me just read this one question from Nuru, then we shall wind up. With the advent of remote working, the cases of work-related mental stress have increased, especially for those who live alone. How can they manage this? Can I repeat the question?
No, I've heard the question. Yeah, it's actually true. You can imagine you're working remotely and you're alone in your house. You know, at least when you go to work, your colleagues are there, you socialize, you know, you can at least feel like there's company. But if you're living alone, yeah, you can actually, first of all, the workload has not reduced just because you're working remotely. So whatever support system that you could have, maybe you pop into somebody's office, hey, could you help me with this? You know, maybe the Zoom meetings are like Zoom meeting back to back. I mean, it can just, then the workload, and you still have to deliver, and working in home, it's not exactly the best conditions because you're not attuned to work at home anyway. That's supposed to be a relaxation joint, and then you're alone. So for sure, it can increase stress. So I think if you're working remotely and you're working alone from home, please make sure you find outlets. You at least do outdoor activities with other people so that you don't find yourself self-isolating and you're not sick. Like, don't be a hermit. You need to just meet with other people, honestly. You can find yourself just being there alone for 2 weeks because of work, but you really just need to find opportunities where you can meet with people, even if it's church, some social gathering, do an outdoor activity. I think that can, in fact, those are things that can also help improve your mental health. Go and just sit at the beach and just watch the waves. Listen to some nice music, take a walk. Call a friend up. Can I come to your house for a sleepover? Something like that. Do something out of your ordinary work norm that can at least help you decompress, help you find a different environment, so that you can now, when you're doing your work, because, you know, it's work, you're at least in the right mental state to do it.
Okay. Now, maybe to wind up, the men in uniform are accustomed to these yes sir order, yeah? Yes sir. So it's like wako kwa box, yeah, yes sir. Hata wakiwa kwa off, hayuko off kabisa.
Kwa standby.
Yeah, ako standby. Huyo na yeye afanyeje ku free the mind?
Also, unfortunately, it's the nature of work. It's like even a doctor. You're still on call. Utaitwa saa 7. Kuna mwanamke amejifungua huku, tafadhali kuja utusaidie daktari, you know. So I think some natures of work just make it like super hard, but even then, if you feel, we talked about mental health, the ability to be able to be productive and contribute to society. There's no point in working to the extent that you cannot be productive and contribute to society. If you feel that you need to take a break, you should have the liberty to say, tafadhali afande, my boss, you know that I'm loyal, I want to work, but where I am right now, I think I need a break. I cannot be productive in my state. Because the problem is there are so many people who are not mentally healthy. They're not mentally they're well. They're psychologically undergoing stresses. But because they're forcing themselves to be productive, they're working at 20%. They're basically running on fumes. And you're pushing them to work remotely, work. Then finally, when they reach 0, is when they either have mental breakdowns, is when now they do these things, and we're just like, yo, imetokea wapi? Somebody was totally depleted with no way to replenish themselves. They were not able to take a break. They didn't feel like they could take a break. Or the way we are saying, this glorified mentality of, hapo sugu, ini burnout tu, tunaendelea tuna kazi, hustle, grind. So I think people should be given the opportunity. If you truly cannot work, what's the point in being there working and you're not being productive? Yes.
Heri, uko na mafunzo ya nguvu. You know, like when you are talking to us, we are actually learning at the same time, walking the talk. Yani vile unatuambia tufanye, mind inaendelea kuwa relieved. What should we do? Tumalize leo alafu turudi tuendelee.
Yes, kwingine, why not? Kwanza vile naona umeniletea pizza.
By the hii ni chicken peri peri.
I'm telling you, inanukia.
Unasema majina?
Hata sijui jina.
Haujui jina ya hii pizza?
Kabisa.
Ngoja. Waziri. Njoo. Njoo kidogo. Njoo kidogo. Mgeni wangu anasema pita pale. Mgeni wangu anasema hii pizza ajui majina, lakini mwambie hii ni pizza ni gani na iko na nini. Umepatikana.
Sasa nitakuwa show.
Keti chini. Keti tu. Yes. Hello. Wasema majina kwanza, alafu mwambie hii pizza ni.
Kwa majina najulikana kama Donald Waziri. Lakini wengi wananijua kama Trump.
Okay.
Wow, mbona uko na majina za nguvu hivyo?
Ni majina tu. Pizza ambayo iko mbele yetu hapa kwa meza ni barbecue. Ambayo it consists of kuna barbecue sauce.
Okay.
Ambayo inatengenezwa special.
Okay.
Kwa hii pizza. Iko na kuku. Kuku pia inamixwa na hiyo barbecue sauce.
Alright.
Iko na capsicum ama tunaita pilipili hoho.
Okay.
Alafu iko na oregano.
Oregano kwa Kiswahili?
Oregano kwa Kiswahili
Endelea tu.
poleni.
Imempiga chenga
Sasa hii ni barbecue sauce, ni barbecue pizza.
Alright.
Tuko na peri peri.
Alright.
Ambayo inaingia peri peri sauce.
Alright.
So tofauti hizi pizza ni sauce.
Sauce. Heri umesoma hiyo?
Nimesoma.
Next time ukiona pizza sasa kama hii ujue ni barbecue.
Asante.
Karibu sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, ukiona tunaletewa pizza, umesikia jina yenyewe ni ya nguvu. Umesikia hiyo jina? Waziri.
Yes.
McDonald Trump, waziri. So yeye ndio huwa the guy behind the pizza. Kila dakika tunapata pizza hapa kwa Bustan restaurant, home of pizza. Huyo ndio waziri wa hapa. Mimi namuita waziri wa mambo ya ndani. Shukrani bwana waziri.
Karibuni sana.
Asante. Tumalizane na hii. Thank you waziri. Tumalizane na mimi nataka kula pizza. Aga wa Kenya, uambie utarudi tena lini Mungu akipenda, ama uwashauri kuhusu mental wellness, the do's they should do. Hata kama ni mbili. Usiwaambie the don'ts, waambie the do's.
The do's. All right. Thank you so much, first of all, Mr. Fred, this opportunity you've given me to come on this show. I really enjoyed myself talking about mental health. I am not a mental health expert, but I am interested in it. It's something that I am passionate about as an emotional intelligence coach. So all I can encourage you is please pay attention to your emotions. Learn how to be self-aware, understand what you're feeling and communicate them. Do not ignore your feelings. And if you feel so inclined, please reach out to people, talk to somebody. You can talk to a friend, or you can even talk to a counselor if you feel that you need that, but do not feel stigma because you are not able to cope. Most of us do not know how to manage stress. So please find places where you can get help, whether it's an actual professional counselor or a friend. But please do not ignore the warning signals.
Thank you. Acha nishukuru mashabiki fulani Ishaq Shaban pamoja sana bro Saisi. Karibu bro. Nikimbie tu hapa mbio mbio. Ni mention Eugene Mulela akiwa Karim tu hapa. Asante kwa kutizama, na huyo ni fan mkubwa sana. Kuna James Mkanjili tuned in from Malindi, Harriet nikiwa Magongo, Benson following up, Catherine Baby from Malindi, Kevin Shimaka tune in, Oscar tune in, Charity K, then tuko na Kadogo Chola, then Mungu awape afya njema. Tupatane tena anapo majaliwa. Goodbye. Usisahau kusubscribe kwenye YouTube, follow our page on Facebook. Kuja Bustan, sema umeambiwa pizza hapa, ukija Sunday ukinunua moja utapewa moja free. Kuja Bustan, sema nimesikia Word Cafe, nikinunua pizza hapa Sunday moja utapewa moja free. Muwe na afya njema, muwe na productive week. Productive week in Swahili? God bless.